Yeah, it's drunk. So this was the system I had up at that yurt, and BMS puked out. Smells like industrial goodness. There are plus sides to this battery, and there's bad sides to this battery. Everybody wants to, talk about the pluses and ignore the bad. Plus side, it's one battery. It's reasonably easy to hook up. That's the good part. Here's a big problem with this battery. It's too freaking heavy. It is plus 300 pounds. Manipulating this thing is a nightmare. If you put like the inverter with that channel duct thing above here, right, and this thing screws up on you, it's a nightmare to service. This BMS, the internal wiring, when I put this BMS in, the internal wiring was very sloppy. Some of the wires were very taut. There wasn't enough slack in it. And it just puked out. It actually, the red light of death came on, and it was a communications fault. And when I eventually ran it all the way down to deplete the battery, and I, for shits and giggles, I wanted to see if I could cycle the thing, and it just locked out. It was just KO'd. This thing needs to be redesigned. And actually, for anybody out there thinking about going with the lithiums, go with smaller batteries. Go with the server racks. You might have to put like more interconnects and nickel dime things into it, but these things are way too hard to move. And now, luckily this thing has a 5-year warranty. I guess that's a good sign. So I called up Signature Solar, and they sent me out this board. It took about a little over 4 weeks, maybe 5 weeks for me to get this board. The thing is, there's a board on the screen, and then there's like a hub board that's on this side. And so this, when it comes to the communication, and there's a communication port, but this hooks to that hub, and that hub, which has ICs on it, connects to this and this. Now, luckily the system's working. It's communicating, but I can't update the damn firmware. And I can't verify that little hub piece isn't damaged as well from whatever caused the fault. So I've got to cross my fingers. Now I asked them, can you please send me replacement this and replacement that? I can see maybe not doing this, but the other part has ICs in it. The screen is just a screen, but anytime you have an IC on it, IC integrated circuit, that's like these little square things. But yeah, I never got a call back on it. I was a little bit disappointed in Signature's service on that regard. This could be redesigned. I think they should go back to the drawing board with this. I know people rant and rave about how awesome these are. I was expecting more. But the way it failed, there's no reason why it should have failed like this. And I trucked this all the way down here because I didn't want to deal with servicing it. I didn't want to deal with doing this. I just unhooked the inverter and that, because that's how I wired it. I didn't wire it. I wired it pretty loose when it came to. I didn't use the channel duct thing, the little wire raceway thing. I didn't bother using that because I wanted to make it so this thing was easy to remove. And good thing I did. But this thing's way too damn heavy. The fact that this thing, I'm questioning whether I can get it in the back of this pickup truck. When it was delivered, it was a nightmare even getting it into this garage. So I will never buy a battery this size. I recommend anybody out there trying to buy batteries, go with the 100 amp hour ones. Don't get these 280 amp hour. This is a 14K. Stick to the 5 kilowatt stacks, because I have a broken back and I can actually move that, or I can use a little teeny dolly like I got sitting over off the side here. I can use a little dolly to move things around. But yeah, you might have to get a rack. You might have to make it out of wood. You might have to do whatever. Don't step over $1 to pick up a dime. And also, this thing is really not. There's other products out there that are cost less. But I even seen the EG4 is built. They made another one that's like 300 plus amp hour, and I'm like, oh my god. Now that you need to have a jack. I don't know how you move that thing around. So the people of EG4, come on, man. If you're gonna do something like this, make it like a case that's like modular, like you stick in bricks. Like you can open up the case and stick them in, like click, click, click. But at that point, why not just do a server rack? But yeah, I will not be buying another one of these. Not at all. Not at all. But the inverter is good. The 6,000, I got the 6,000 XP. That's working just fine. The 12,000 XP. I like the inverters. I'm not too impressed with their batteries, though. Not at all. But one other thing too. I'm not going to bother showing it, but there's the little dip switches that are up here next to the communications ports. The dip switches, 2 of them are sheared off. They came like that from the factory, and I don't know why that is. So now I have to stick a freaking knife into it to make sure that they're set. And luckily, this is the only battery that'll be used, but so I don't have to worry about doing the step protocol or anything like that. But I figured I'd put this video out there and share that. I mean, it's got bells and whistles. It's got this cute screen. Other things, other nitpicks. For instance, it'll tell me a decent amount of stuff. It tells me a lot of things, but yet it also tells me not a lot of things. Like for instance, it'll tell me the temperature of the cells, but it won't actually tell me what the internal heaters are doing. Like if the internal heaters are running, I don't even know how many watts they're consuming. And I've looked all over the thing to see. Like look, temperature. It tells me the temperature of the 4 groups. But there's nothing here that tells me they could look at. There's even space. They could put like heater temperature. Oh, neat. I should be able to hit temperature, and I'd like to see the status of maybe the heaters. Are the heaters running? Or maybe I want to disable the heaters. Maybe I don't want the heaters to even run. It's a cool option. Maybe I don't want it to run. Maybe I'd rather have the battery just shut off, not charge or shut down, because I'd rather not rely on those heaters. And a piece of me is wondering if that had something to do with the failure. Because anytime you're trying to get cute by making these all-weather systems, you can't guarantee that it's going to work correctly, and until they're out in the field. And this thing is in incredibly extreme environments. I had to build a cabinet about that outhouse. If you look at a video I put of the system in the yurt on my channel, you'll see that I had to build a super hyper insulated outhouse, and I even put a doghouse heater in it to be able to basically give it a room, and it's got circulation air. So basically it's like this thing is in its own little house. So actually this battery is in a better environment than if this thing was mounted over here off to the side in this garage. So if anybody out there wants a nitpick on that, just shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. I built grow tents that plants grew in that had to deal with temperature swings crazier than what this thing is. This thing is living in a good environment. So maybe I don't want the internal heaters on. I'd just rather not work. I'd just rather shut off and flash an arrow set, like too cold, or whatever it is. But yeah, I think it's stupid the fact that you got a screen here and there's things that aren't on there. Like yeah, I would like to know the status of the heaters. This case, I think it should be easier to open this case up. It might not look as pretty, but I put the screws in the front. Put the screws on the sides, not a good idea. It's also how there should be a quick connect on the screen, so if I take the faceplate off, it's easy to get to this BMS. If you're gonna make things like this for DIYers, make them easier to service. But yeah, to anybody out there seeing this video, go with a server rack, don't go with these. They're too heavy. I still think the jury's out on the quality control of this. The build quality on the inside of this, I don't like. I really don't like. I will disagree with. I think Will Prowse gave this thing a shining review. I disagree. My wiring methods are a little bit more exacting, but I don't like taut wires. I like wires that have nice bits of slack. One of the wires is straight across, and I can literally see on this particular port here, the cable was like tight. Like it was way too tight. Like they should add like an extra couple inches. But yeah, I think EG4, if you see this video, I think you should abandon this concept. The wall mounted, it's too much like Tesla, and Tesla sucks. I don't like Tesla, and stop copying that. The server racks work fine. And the little stack units, so like I'd rather have it be in 100 amp hour bricks. Like I'd rather take this thing and divide it into thirds, like just like you have. Actually, I think the one was the Grid Boss system, or that whole system, that product line. That makes more sense. Like click, 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 done. Call it good. Make a base and make it so you can take it apart easy. Make sure you make it serviceable. That's why I like the server racks. I can be like, oh, I have one battery fail. I can turn that battery off. I can remove it and bypass it. You lose some capacity in the meantime until you get a new BMS installed. And also, I'm on the fence about whether this BMS is going to exist much longer. Like, will there be a day comes, let's say this is out of warranty, they stop making this. Is this still going to exist? And then that means I would have to, in case this did break, I'm going to have to jury rig something, and most likely I'll kiss the heating system goodbye, and kiss the screen goodbye, and it'll just be a dumb battery at that point. I'll still be able to run communications, but yeah, I don't know. And also how this is mounted too. I don't like the heat sink. There's a lot of things about this I don't like. And yeah, I figured I'd make this video before I take this thing back up north. But I'm going to be making improvements up there to try to safeguard this thing from being damaged again. I don't know why I did it. I've got lightning arresters up the ass up there. It's really well. I got that system. It's off grid, but I got 4 ground rods set there to make sure that system's fully grounded. I got the ground neutral bonds in the correct locations and everything's set correctly. It's still broke. It took 2 years for this thing to fail, and at least it failed under warranty, right?